So tell us about this new plan.
The new plan includes an initiative to get more officers on the street during peak hours. It will include 45 officers over kind of a 12-hour period, that what we consider our peak time. All of those officers will be on a mandatory overtime shift. It's 7 days a week, and we think that it will give us some traction in some of the areas that we're having issues, specifically dealing with some of the individuals that we believe are responsible for violent crime in our city.
So there's certain areas where you're going to have these officers.
It is, and it will be data driven just based upon our crime maps that we have and where we're seeing violent crime in the city.
Where's that at for right now? So it started today.
Well, it starts today, and there are a number of different locations. There are 3 patrol divisions in the city of Little Rock that are broken up into 24 individual districts as a result of that, and each one of those districts has multiple locations in them that are considered a hot spot.
Okay. So why'd you decide to do this?
Well, we have to continually evaluate what we're doing, the effectiveness of it, what can we do more. Obviously, we continue to see this pattern of violent crime in the city, so we can't continue to do the things that we've done, that we're not getting the kind of outcomes that we would like to see. So that was one of the reasons why we chose to try a different initiative.
And how long do you think that all the officers are going to have to be pulling some overtime?
It's indefinite. Obviously, a lot of that would depend upon the success of the plan. Obviously, we understand that we can't do it forever. The officers are tired already from the long summer that we've had, but we certainly understand that there's a job to do in front of us.
Okay. Did you and the mayor work together on this, or is this strictly you?
This is a police strategy.
Okay. So you also said Arkansas State Police. So that they're in the plan as well. Can you talk about that?
Arkansas State Police has been asked to assist us on state highways that are within the city of Little Rock. They already ride many of these areas, but we've asked them to see if they can increase the number of officers that they have to ride the state highways within the city limits.
Okay. So where did you get this this plan? Have you seen it work in other cities? Is that why y'all decided to do this?
Well, there are different levels of this type of plan, and I'm sure in multiple cities. The strategy came from a session that my patrol bureau commander and the captains representing those 3 different divisions came up with. We reviewed it, and this is what we've come up with as a result of that meeting.
Okay. So I have heard from just some talk from some officers that, they're not too happy about pulling this overtime. What do you have to say to that?
Well, there are a lot of things that I deal with on a daily basis that don't necessarily make me happy, but it's a part of my job to deal and manage with those things.
Okay. And so how important is the safety of Little Rock to you?
It's very important. It's my job. That's my responsibility, which is why we have to put that at the forefront of this initiative that we're doing. Everyone is exhausted. Everyone understands the challenges that we have. We all have to have some skin in the game, so to speak. We're certainly trying to do what we can to decrease the number of vacancies that we have within the police department with our hiring. August the 21st, Monday coming up, we have 27 individuals that will be starting a recruit class. We just graduated 18 a couple of weeks ago. So we're incrementally closing those gaps. We'll also have another class of 40 or so that will be starting in November.
Okay. So are you having to pull people from different departments because there's so many homicides that have been happening? So are you going to have to start pulling people back to homicide?
I don't understand your question.
Okay, so you have some officers that have probably worked homicide before. So do you have to, since you've been having, so many, 43, so will you have to move them back to the homicide department? Does that make sense?
Are you going to add additional detectives to homicide because the number is so high?
Yeah.
No, so far we haven't had a plan to do that. We obviously have vacancies throughout the police department. When you have 80 vacancies in an authorized strength of 593, everyone feels the pain of that. So I have vacancies throughout the police department, and we will close those vacancies, both uniform and detectives, as we incrementally get more police officers on the street.
Okay. So do we have any idea? Do we still think that all this stuff going on, all the crime is gang related?
I don't say that all of the crime is gang related. Much of the crime stems from a dispute, whether that be from a gang setting, whether that be a drug deal gone wrong, whether that be a robbery, whether that be a domestic. There are a number of different layers to the things that we have facing us. If the things were simple or very easy to point out, then we would probably have a lot more success in trying to manage those things. But the problems that we're facing are very, very complex. So there really are no single solutions to these very broad problems.
Okay. What would you say the department's number one focus is right now?
Violent crime and decreasing that.
Okay. Do you have anything to say about the mayor's plan? Do you think is it helping yet, or?
I think it's too early to say. The mayor just put that plan together. It's part of a comprehensive plan to address many of the issues that I've been talking about, both publicly and privately, that I believe are the genesis of crime-infested communities and individuals that ultimately end up in the criminal justice system. And the mayor's plan, I believe, in a comprehensive way, begins to collectively address some of those issues. So I'm optimistic about the plan.
Okay. What are the peak times that the officers will be, pulling extra patrols? What are the times that you would call peak times?
That will vary. It just depends upon what the data is giving us. And obviously, if I'm sitting here talking about a strategy, I don't want to put out the times that we're going to have peak times for police officers to be on the street, because there are some sinister individuals who would look at that and think, how can I work around them?
Okay. I had one more question. Oh, dang, it slipped me whenever I asked that question. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and ask the basic. So is there anything else you'd like to say about this plan?
Other than patience on the part of our community, we understand that there's a lot of concern and frustration going on as it relates to the violent crime. We share the community's frustration. We're doing everything that we can within our power to try to address many of these issues. We feel good about this plan. Well, we felt good about all the plans that we've had, but we do understand that this is a very monumental task that we've taken on, but we feel like that we're going to have the stamina to hang in there to try to address these issues.
And I feel like it's important to tell. I live in Little Rock, of course, so I mean, people are saying, I'm not coming to Little Rock. That's why I don't come to Little Rock. I'm scared. I mean, it's not like it's just, I mean, yes, some of it is kind of spotty, but it's people, it's like certain areas and certain people like targeting other individuals. It's not like they're just going and killing, like, this has to be drug related.
Well, I think it's safe to say that we've had some rare incidents where true innocent people have been the victims of violent crime. And that certainly happens in our city. Ramaya Reed, Asen King, the young lady at the daycare, those certainly come to mind. But more often than not, the high percentage of violent crime in our cities are individuals who are engaged in things that have brought them to that avenue. So I think that people who carry themselves in a dignified way, who are not hanging out with individuals who are engaged in criminal behavior, this is still a relatively safe city. That's not to say that you can't be the victim of something random and that we don't have things that happen like that in our city. We're an urban community with 200,000 citizens, so you're going to have some of that. But more often than not, it stems from some kind of dispute and there's some kind of pre-existing relationship. And rarely do we see innocent people, true innocent people, not engaged in some kind of criminal behavior that are the victims of violent crime in Little Rock.
Okay, I have one more question.
Yes.
So I've been doing a lot of interviews. I've been in the areas where all this crime's been going on, and I have had people straight up tell me that these individuals doing all this shooting and stuff, that they think that this is a game. They say, we're going to bring back, Banging in the Rock. What do you have to say to that? What do you have to say to those individuals that think like this is they're just trying to bring something back that was so horrible? They don't understand how horrible that was for the city.
Well, this speaks to the value system of the individuals who would make a statement like that. And when you think of an individual to where we see a city with the kind of carnage, particularly with our young African-American males, that day in and day out, if they're not victims of homicide, then they're being rolled into UAMS as a victim of a shooting. And the fact that someone would correlate that with a gang or see Banging in Little Rock as something that's positive that they would want to bring back or even take a part in. It speaks to the questions that I've raised about the families that are producing these kinds of individuals that have that sort of mentality. And it also tells you the challenge that I have in trying to address individuals who think that something that this level of danger, when you look at the number of people who have been hurt, and to see that as a game, then that just tells you how difficult our job is.